Hello, we're back again, and this time I thought that I would mention something regarding the tools that could be needed in this hobby. So I will probably make some videos where I film myself using the tools, but for now I just wanted to make short presentations regarding the tools that I think is necessary and what you can use if you're taking this hobby to the next step. So for most people that are buying a high grade, for example, typical, one of those, a normal high grade, and you never built before, all you really need is a nipper. And we sell a lot of these basic nippers, also called entry nippers, that are relatively cheap and easy to use. So if you're building your high grade kit and you actually find it amusing and cozy and fantastic, and you think, I want to do something more with these kits. One, it's more fun to build the models even more thorough and more detailed, and that way they will have more shelf presence. But also because if you just quick build something, then it's done in a few hours, and the hobby can be rather expensive, and I don't complain if people keep on buying, but you could actually make a kit last more than one day. And how do you do that? Well, first, for starters, you of course have your nippers. And what I do personally, as I showed in the other video, is that I use, it can be this nipper as well, or it can be this nipper to rough cut the parts out, not entirely into the part, and then use sanding sticks, gun primer, or gun primer is a glass file, or you can use sanding sticks or sandpaper or whatever we have to adjust or remove the knobs completely so it's completely flush. Sometimes if you just use a normal nipper, then you can see the small knob parts sticking out everywhere, and that's not very pretty. Another thing you can use is, of course, our markers. Now we have different kind of markers for panel lining. Now we have the pour type, which is actually a tip that you press down before you use it, and you just hit the plastic in the line and the ink will flow by itself. It's very effective and very great. Then we have them with a normal tip. We also have something called Molotov markers, so that you kind of have to draw the lines or in the panel lines with the pen itself, which also works great, and we have them in different colors. Then we have the Tamiya panel lining, which is an ink as well with a small brush. We have those in very different variations. One thing you have to keep in mind with the markers is don't use them on ABS plastic, which often it's actually stated on the runner, but it's often the inner frames and the hands and stuff, because it can react with the plastic and actually melt through it. Some have experienced that some of the panel lining can actually crack the plastic as well, the normal armor plastic. I've only tried it once and it was only a small crack, but it can happen, and that's just how it is. We have normal markers as well. If you wish to make your kits more color accurate, just remember that the finish is best on small parts and will never be 100% as if you airbrushed. That's just how it is. My personal preference is that I always use panel lining. I always use a gold and chrome if I can on parts that looks like they should be metal or brass or gold colored. I always use the gun primer files or sanding sticks, and we also have sanding boards in different colors, which comes in different variations in thickness. So we have sandpaper with adhesive that you can cut or put on to those sanding boards, make it easier to reach into places where the gun primer files cannot. And it's the gun primer razor I use from the Gape Remover set. It's our most sold kit, actually. I could just pick it up here. You can't actually see it, because it's hidden inside this box. But the gun primer razor, this is the gate remover set. It is an awesome tool. It also comes with something called balancers, which is kind of files that buff. I'm just gonna go to the light sensor. That will buff the plastic either glossy, matte, or you can buff it back to the normal plastic shine. And what I normally do after that is I put on decals. So I cut off the parts, I assemble the model, I make panel lining and chrome, gold, whatever marker details. I put on water slides if there's water slides in it. And for the water slides, I use tweezers. Now we have different tweezers for the purpose. We have them with both the pointy edges, the flat edges, and the angle. So, and we also have Vallejo tweezers to put on the decals or the markers, stickers, because it's easier to place the tiny parts, especially the cameras or the eyes and stuff. I also use scalpels. I forgot that one. When I cut out parts, sometimes it's easier for the scalpel to remove the nut parts depending on where it is located at. What more do I use? Yeah, I have another one than this one, but the new one here, the part separator, is actually a tool that if you pushed something together the wrong way, or you forgot something, or you flipped something around, sometimes it can be hard for the fingers to pull them apart, and sometimes you can actually break the pegs. So the part remover here is a lot better. It also has this pointy tip for when you're using it for the poly caps and stuff. It's a good tool. I've been using mine quite often actually. And so that's the basics. Of course, you don't need a mat, a cutting mat. We have cutting mats of different sizes. This is an A3 size, and they're self-healing with the patterns and stuff if you need to cut out masking tape. It's good because you can protect your desktop from ink and cuts and whatnot. So I use that as well. Now that's, for me, the basic stuff. Well, you can use this as well. I also use normal cotton buds, but if you have to remove excessive panel lining, we have the panel line remover, or you can use something else to put on with on these and then remove it. We have in different sizes as well, because sometimes you have to go kind of deep into the armor parts, and it's difficult with the big cotton buds, so we use the small ones. So if you want to go to the next step, that would probably be something like scribing. We have scribers for making the panel lines deeper or making completely new panel lines. Gun Primer have a lot of scribing guides, like tape you can put on and scribe after that with patterns. We have 2 different kind of scribers from Gun Primer, and we have a lot of different brooches and stuff from Display, which is actually small. I will show them at my home at some point, another video, where you can make your panel lines in a lot of different thicknesses. You can use pla plates, which is actually just pieces of plastic that you cut out and glue onto the armor to give it more depth, or you know, some of the kits have all these details onto it, but you can actually put more onto it, sand it, and paint it. Therefore, you make your own kit. You can use all kinds of different tools. I myself use this a lot, and I'm about to use the spherical vise as well. The visor, I use it a lot when I put on decals, because sometimes it's easier to put decals on specific locations on a kit when it's not lying flat on the table, and when you're holding it with your hands it can be a bit shaky. So I use the vises for example, holding the torso in the right angle against the light and stuff, so I sit good. I don't have to adjust my lamp and look all twisted when I'm putting on my decals. That's kind of the most basic tools I have. We have a lot of fun stuff you can use as well. I showed that with the display. We have the vacuum to suck up nubs and the dust, and we have or at least we can get this dust removing thingy from display, and I have it at home that actually sucks all the plastic dust away when you're sanding, because in some ways there are micro parts of plastic whirling around at home when you're sitting there sanding, and you can actually see it in some of the videos, especially from the gun primer void. Then when you brush it off, it actually swooshes everywhere, and I kind of don't want to inhale it too much. I don't think a lot of stuff happens by it, but I have it anyway. We have, yeah, I think that's about what I want to use. I mean, we have the UV lights, and I have that as well. I mean, of course, I have to have some of it because I do advocate for it because it's in my shop, and some of it is actually quite funny. But since I don't paint with airbrush, that's about what I use and what I recommend people to use. So good nippers, markers, tools for putting on decals or holding your kits, a mat, different kind of sanding stuff. It could be both paper with nice handles, or it could be completely normal sanding paper. Gun primers is the most fantastic tool in the world. I know a lot of you guys probably build your own tools and go all low budget, and that's totally fine. I think it's actually rather cool. Myself, I always buy quality stuff and good stuff. Obviously I get it a bit cheaper, but it's the same thing when I fix my house. Unless it's a simple assignment I'm probably only going to use once or twice, I can go to one of the low quality hobby shops and buy some kind of drilling machine. But if I'm going into a bigger project, I want to have a good tool. Saves me time, gives me better pleasure while building whatever. Same thing for this hobby. It takes hours and hours, and people spend thousands and thousands of kits, so why not spend a couple of thousands on some good tools as well? Another thing you can mention is, of course, a good lamp. I don't use a specific one. I just use an LED lamp, normal office lamp with a good light. And of course the hobby zone. We have a lot of hobby zone where you can modularize your own hobby setup, where you can put all your stuff and organize it so it doesn't get too messy. We have a lot of that. I have it at home as well. It's just all kinds of different modules that you can assemble and put and build on your desk in the right sizes, the right height, with drawers and shelves for paints and everything. Yeah, at least maybe that's not a tool, but get a base for your kit. If it's back heavy, get it up there flying, looking good in an awesome pose, and you're good to go. I mean, oh, top coat. I forgot that. I always spray my greater looking kits with top coat. Clear coating if I wanted to look brand new directly from the factory. Matte coating if I just wanted to be more realistic and lose all the plastic shine. And pearl coat if it's a shiny kit that needs this extra shimmered glossy thing. And you can use it on different parts as well. So for example, the torso armor could be pearl and the rest could just be clear, depending on how many clear parts are on the kit. I don't recommend blasting any clear parts with coating at all, but that's up to you. Sorry. So I think that was about it. If some of you want to see me use some of the tools live, I try to use some of it with nippers, and forgive me for not having the right setup, sound, cameras and all that kind of stuff. YouTube is still relatively new. I have to figure out the format, how much time and money I want to spend on it. Especially because the traffic was like great in the beginning where I hit the algorithm with something. Now it's kind of declining. I hear a lot of feedback from you guys on emails and chats and stuff. As long as people out there are happy, I'm happy to continue as well. I just don't want to spend tens of thousands of kroners on equipment if we keep on being low key. Then what I have now should suffice and be enough. So, good news, just to round the video off, we have 4 boxes of premium Bandai and Gundam base stock in the toll right now, or customs, that's what you call it. We have two big boxes of merchandise coming in. We have a huge, I actually put the list in the Facebook group, a huge pile of new Gundams coming in. And what was it more? We have a huge bunch of gun primer coming in. We should be here in September. We should have had a lot, but it looks like it's being pushed into the next month, which I am grateful for, because that would just fuck me up completely, to use the right words. What I have ordered and what's in the deadline for this month was actually pallets and pallets, lots of pallets. And if we got lots of pallets right now, I mean, I speak with my wife once in a while, and I say, I'll do my magic. I'll do my magic. Just let me do my magic. And when she comes, I mean, I always find room for stuff. But pallets and pallets right now would simply just mess everything up, because, well, I wanted to show something. The video just cut off, but this is what I move each day to get inside the warehouse. Now, that's not optimal, you know. And they're full. I mean, this is a box for merchandise that needs to be filled up. This is a Gundam box that needs to be filled up when I have the incoming merchandise. We have a whole master box of Asmodee, a whole master box of Gaahleri. We have a box of bags we didn't get to sell. All this stuff is just leftovers that can't be on the shelves, and they're standing here when I go home. Even the bases down there are on a wagon with wheels that I can move around. So yeah, let's see, next week we will get something to fill up different places. We got a small hole here, small holes over here, so let's see what happens. I will keep you posted, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and speak to you very soon. Take care.